You ever find out something about a comic book franchise that makes you think, what the fuck? When I was working on my MA thesis, creating a language for the MCU's Wakanda, I did some research on the Black Panther franchise on a whole, including the comics. It was quite the rabbit hole, let me tell you. In Marvel Atlas, a breakdown of the locations within Marvel Comics, I found that Wakanda's currency is called the dollar, and I lost my mind. Honestly, it felt like the laziest world building I'd ever seen. Like the American creators didn't give any thought to it at all and just gave this isolationist African nation a currency that they just thought of as the default. Why would this country that has never been colonized by any power, let alone a European one, take up a currency that has etymological ties to Europe? In Wakanda's world building, the principle has always been to basically take random aspects of various African cultures and countries and bring them together. Their cities are called Birnin, which I believe is a Hausa word. They worship Bast, an Egyptian god. There are a group of people called Jabari, a Swahili word. And the area that eventually became Wakanda was inhabited by creatures called Anansi, which is the name of an Akan god. So I would have assumed that they would have tried to find an African currency for Wakanda. To give the creators of Wakanda some credit though, many of the currencies in Africa do have etymological ties to Europe. There's the Congolese franc, the Sudanese pound, the Namibian dollar, and the South African rand, among others. However, there are some currencies that seem quite uniquely African. For example, there is the Zambian kwacha, which actually started to be used around the time the Black Panther character first hit comics. Why not something like that? It would fit right in with how they designed Wakanda. Or how about something more unique to Wakanda? Although the Kingdom of Wakanda has many natural resources, the one that seems most important to them is vibranium. Why not have a currency whose name is directly related to vibranium? Maybe it could have been inspired by a weight system, a purity grading system, something. Instead, an African nation that was never colonized by a European power uses a currency whose etymologically traces back to Germany. How does that make sense? Anyway, thanks for listening to my little rant. What kind of currency would you give Wakanda? Would you leave it as a dollar or would you come up with something else? Let me know in the comments. I've been Ken Kwame and I'll see you next time.